Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tevaron here, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week, we are going to be running a green-white Selesnya deck that is sort of mid-rangey, kind of. It's a little aggro as well, and we're running the aura package that you have seen before in my mono-white auras deck. So let's go through the deck list. First of all, we're running Kytheon, Hero of Akros, who is a 1 mana, 2/1. He can gain indestructible for 2 colorless and a white, and at the end of combat, if Kytheon, Hero of Akros, and at least 2 other creatures attacked this combat, exile Kytheon, then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. And at that point, you get Gideon Battleforged, who has some useful abilities, the most useful of which that I found on this program is the +1 until your next turn target creature gains indestructible. Untap that creature so you can attack with something, then untap it, giving it indestructible, and have it as a blocker next turn. Also useful is becoming a 4/4 human soldier with indestructible. So Kytheon's pretty good. Whether you flip him or not, he is an aggressive creature. We are also running an Elite Vanguard, which is a vanilla 2/1 for 1 mana, so that's just basically a beater to get in there. We are running 3 Sunblade Elves, which is a 1/1 for a green. However, if you control a plains, which we should, seeing as how we are green and white, it gets +1/+1, so it's a 2/2 for 1 in that situation. Also has the ability of 4 colorless and a white, and creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Next, we are running 3 Consul's Lieutenants, which are 2 mana, 2/1 first strikers. They have Renown 1 if this creature deals combat damage to a player, and it isn't renowned, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it becomes renowned. Whenever Consul's Lieutenant attacks, if it's renowned, other creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. We're running 3 Topan Freeblade. We're not running the full set in this deck to make room for some other things, but Topan Freeblades are 1 white and a colorless, Vigilant, Renown 1, 2/2, which is pretty good on offense and defense. We are running 2 Grasp of the Hieromancer, which is an enchantment aura that gives a creature +1/+1, and the creature then has, whenever it attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. Pretty good for getting in there. However, not as good for getting in there as, say, Nimbus Wings, which is why I'm running Nimbus Wings as a 4 of and Grasp of the Hieromancer as a 2 of. We're also running a 1 of Divine Favor because I have Search for Auras, and sometimes it's really nice to gain that 3 life, and also it's relevant to get the +3 on defense instead of a +1 or a +2. We are running, as I said, the 4 Nimbus Wings, which is 1 colorless and a white, gives a creature +1/+2, and flying, which is really good on this iteration of Magic Duels. Flying is a great form of evasion. We're running Heliod's Pilgrim, which allows you to search up an aura card and put it into your hand. That kind of activates our 1-ofs auras and makes it more consistent getting your creatures buffed. We're running that as a 4 of. We're running 1 Nissa. Nissa is 2 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a forest, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. And when you play a land, or when a land enters the battlefield from anywhere under your control, if you control 7 or more lands, exile Nissa, then flip her. And at that point, she becomes Nissa Sage Animist. She has several really useful abilities. +1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it into the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. That's great card advantage. For a -2, you can get a legendary 4/4 green elemental. And for -7, her ultimate lets you untap 6 lands. They become 6/6 elemental creatures. At that point, you probably win the game if you haven't already. We are running 3 Valeron Wardens, since we've got quite a bit of renown in this deck. It's 2 and a green for a 1/3 with renown 2, so when it becomes renowned, it gets +2/+2, 2 +1/+1 counters. And whenever a creature you control becomes renowned, you draw a card. So that is a great form of card advantage in this deck if you can get that to work out for you. Oops, put that back in there. We're running 3 Citadel Castellans, which are Vigilance for 1, a green and a white, and they are Renowned 2 as well. So when this hits, you have a 4/5 Vigilant creature, and that's without any buffs or enchantments on it whatsoever. Citadel Castellan's pretty good. We're running 2 Wild Sizes, which gives a creature +2/+2 for 2 and a green at instant speed, and you draw a card. And it gains Trample, which is relevant, especially with renowned creatures in the deck. This will oftentimes, if you don't have a way to get them through unmolested, trample over for that point of damage that you need to get them renowned. We're running 1 Archangel of Tithes, which is 1 and 4 white, flying. As long as it's untapped, when creatures attack you, their controller has to pay 1 mana to get them to be able to attack. And if it's attacking, then defending creatures can't block unless their controller pays 1 mana for each of those creatures. And it's a 3/5 flyer, so that's really good. Running 2 Kytheon's Irregulars, which is 2 and 2 white for a 4/3 with Renown 1, and for 2 white you can tap a creature. And you'll notice you don't have to tap Kytheon's Irregulars, you can just do this as many times as you want, up to the amount of white mana you have available to do it with. Running 1 Suppression Bonds. It is an aura, so we can search for it with our Pilgrims. You can enchant a permanent. Enchanted permanent cannot attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. So this is an answer to not only creatures, but lands or enchantments or artifacts, anything like that that you just need to deal with. This will deal with it. Not lands, sorry, it's non-land permanents. So enchantments, artifacts that you just need to deal with, such as Evo Leap. And we're running 1 Knightly Valor. At 5 mana, I don't really want to run more than 1, but we can search it up again with our Pilgrim. It's an enchant creature. When Knightly Valor enters the battlefield, put a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance onto the battlefield. Then the creature you enchanted also gets +2/+2 and has Vigilance itself. We're running 9 Plains, 5 Forests, 2 Sunpetal Groves, 4 Selesnya Guildgates, and 2 Evolving Wilds. I'm only running 2 Evolving Wilds because I want to try to limit the number of comes into play tap lands that I have in this deck, because my curve is pretty low, while still being able to get the colors I need when I need them. And 2 Evolving Wilds seems to have worked out pretty good in testing with this. So without further ado, let's get in there and see what we can accomplish. Okay, we do not want to keep this hand. We might consider it if this was a plains instead of a forest. We're going to draw a new hand. Again, I don't think I can keep this. We'll go and mulligan on down, and we will keep this. We can't cast anything straight off, but our opponent also mulliganed down, so hopefully we will draw into 1 more land or a 2-drop that we can get out there and start beating down. Okay, that is not that, but we've still got a couple of draws to get there. What would be really awesome is to draw a 2-drop next turn and then a land that comes into play and tap the turn after. That's asking quite a bit, though. We'll see what can happen. Our opponent, unfortunately, has Elvish Visionary, so that's going to help them to draw out of their mulligan. Okay, so we got a land, so that's fine. We will just pass the turn. We would ideally like to have had a creature on turn 1 or turn 2. That did not work out for us. We'll try to make the best of it. We do have Valeron Wardens, though it is likely to die, seeing as how it looks like we're playing against a Golgari control-ish build. It might be elves, though. You never know. They both run Elvish Visionary. And we have Grasp of the Hieromancer to try to help get our Valeron Wardens in there if we need that, along with Heliod's Pilgrim to go and get more utility auras. Wildsize is also a nice addition, which might actually be the go-to play if our Wardens doesn't immediately die, just to use the Wildsize to get in there and get it renowned. Okay, we'll go ahead and cast our Wardens and hope he doesn't have a Reeve Soul / anything else. Okay, Nissa. That is actually pretty good for us, because it looks like we're going to be able to get our Valeron Wardens renowned. Unless he blocks with both of those. I'm guessing he won't, though. So let's not play this. We might draw a Guildgate that we want to play. So continue. I expect to just be blocked by this. If not, we will kind of blow him out with the Wildsize anyway, because we'll kill both of his creatures. And getting Nissa off the board is never a bad thing. Okay, just Nissa? Well, we'll just kill Nissa then. Unless he has some pump of his own, like Might of the Masses or Primal Bellow, and get our renown. So let's see what we draw. Okay, we drew a Vanguard. That's not a Guildgate, but it is something we can go ahead and play. Kind of happy about that. Still wouldn't mind drawing one more land. That would allow us to cast anything in our deck. We only have the 1/5 cost, though. Okay, there's the Reef Soul. Wonder if he had that last turn. If he did, he's probably pretty unhappy that he didn't play it at that time. So here, I think the play is to grasp up our Elite Vanguard and let it get in there. I don't want to pile too many enchantments on it and make it too vulnerable to removal. Tap that down. Fleshbag Marauder could also be a thing, which would 2-for-1 us at this point. And we'll go ahead and pass. Also, a 5th land would allow us to be playing our Heliod's Pilgrim and casting something else in the same turn. Alright, I'm actually pretty okay with Grasp of the Hieromancer being destroyed that way. Still have a Nimbus Wings and another Grasp in my hand. Okay, the question here is whether I play the Nimbus Wings and keep swinging, or play the Heliod's Pilgrim and start thinning my deck out. I actually think I need to start thinning my deck out and maybe get a 5th land in play if we can get there. Yes. At this point, I think I'm going to get... I'm going to go ahead and get Knightly Valor just as a hedge against drawing that 5th land. We still have the other things that we can cast without the 5th land. We can actually drop both of our creature buffs next turn if we want to. Also have to be wary of a Languish from our opponent. We still do not really know if he is Control or Elves. It's looking like it's Control, but he could just have a really, really bad draw. Okay. So with this amount of land out, we're also subject to the possibility of instant speed removal from our opponent. So I'm going to chance it and go ahead and... Well, no, that would actually not be a very good idea, because that would only give our Elite Vanguard 3 defense. I could put it on the Heliod's Pilgrim. I think rather what I'm going to do is Grasp of the Hieromancer on the Elite Vanguard. Then I can swing in and tap down this, leaving only this to block, which can't kill either of these on its own. And there's instant speed removal from our opponent. I'm actually okay with this either trading with this or killing this, so I'm going to go ahead and swing, and then we'll play our other Pilgrim. One of our other 2 Pilgrims. And that's perfectly fine with me. We're actually pretty far ahead on cards in hand, and I do not mind at all trading that off. Yes, we will use that. And I think I want to just go ahead and get another Nimbus Wings. I don't really need the Divine Favor. Not in any danger of dying straight off here. It's more there for, say, more aggressive decks or the mono red matchup if we run into that. Okay, so our opponent is ramping. Only 3 cards in hand still to R5. Okay, so I think we want to Nimbus Wings on our Pilgrim. Still don't want to invest into that at the moment. Go ahead and attack. Then I'd say we'll drop our Consul's Lieutenant. Don't really want to extend into more than, say, 2 creatures on the board at the moment. We don't know if our opponent is running Languish as a board wipe. And as the board sits right now, we really don't need more than 2 creatures to pressure our opponent adequately. Rogue's Passage. Alright. Gaia's Revenge. Okay, then. So, that's a beater. Yeah, I'm not going to block that. Now I will cast the Valor. I'm also going to put it on our Pilgrim since it has flying. And we will swing with both of these. The first strike will keep our Consul's Lieutenant alive. Okay, he is trying to see if we're up on it. We got to first strike the Elvish Visionary, otherwise it will kill our Consul's Lieutenant. And we have a Knight to block Gaia's Revenge, which I probably will do now. Okay, are you Reaving Soul our Knight? Oh, okay. So we're losing 2 things. It looks like we have lost control of this match. Which can happen. We just can't do anything about Gaia's Revenge. Can't be countered. Haste can't be the target of non-green spells or abilities from non-green sources. I'm not going to block. I want my creature to stay out there for the moment. Okay. And this guy has Menace. I don't think we can get out of this. I can Suppression Bonds this and then block this. But that still leaves us in a state that we can't finish this out. Well, let's give it a try, I suppose. We have to Suppression Bonds this or we're just dead. If he has removal, we're just dead in any case. We go ahead and attack, I suppose. Get rid of that Gate Creeper Vine. Unless he chooses not to block with it, but he does. There's really not a lot of reason not to at this point. We have... Yep, that's it. That's game. Good game, opponent. Oh, and just... Okay, go ahead. Swing for 12 instead of 8. Not that it made a lot of difference. Well, that was a pretty inauspicious start to this Friday Night Magic. Let's hope we can do a bit better as we go on. Okay, this is a keepable hand. It's not perfect by any means, but it's not mulliganable, in my opinion. I'll keep that. So our opponent looks like he is playing a 63 card deck, I think. Not the most optimal thing, though if you want to, go ahead. I wouldn't recommend it. There have been times in the past when I've played 61 card decks, but I don't claim that was the right decision. I just could not figure out what to cut to get down to 60 at the time, and it's been a very rare thing. Looks like we are probably playing against some sort of Thopters build, would be my guess. You usually don't see a red-blue deck that is not Thopters. Though I guess theoretically they could be running all the prowess creatures and then instants and sorceries to pump them up. Or they could be splashing a third color in there. Looks like they're stuck on 2 lands. Well, this is good for us, bad for our opponent. I'm not going to cry about it though. I'm not going to cast the Nimbus Wings. I don't want to get 2 for 1'd by, looks like a Fiery Impulse, which would have happened, or Twin Bolt. Whatever I cast the Nimbus Wings on, he could have killed in response. And then I would have lost the creature and the enchantment. Yep, there's Twin Bolt. I'm going to kill our Freeblade. That's very much the correct choice. And we have 4 lands now in hand and in play, so we will be able to hit our Kytheon's Irregulars. Go ahead and cast our Pilgrim and search up another Aura. Probably just want another Nimbus Wings, to be honest. In my opinion, the best Aura in an Aura sort of centric deck. Jace. Well, we don't have a lot of ways to deal with Jace. Just one, actually, unless our opponent decides to block with it. Okay. I am going to Nimbus Wings now, and I'm going to put it on the Pilgrim, because Elite Vanguard can kill Jace if he blocks with Jace. Then we can drop our other Topan Freeblade second main phase after the attack. Could have just not cast anything, enchantments at all, and cast Kytheon's Irregulars. I prefer this line though, it makes this guy more resilient. And lets us still develop the board and get in there to attack for a little bit more damage at the same time. Okay, so our opponent finally hits his 3rd land drop. Looks like they're going to wait to loot with Jace until my turn. Okay, so I still, with the mana open, I don't want to cast the Nimbus Wings before combat, so I'm just going to go to combat and attack. Kind of expect to see Jace block this, yeah. Loot. Oh, Titan's Strength, eh? Okay. Well, that's definitely a thing. Okay. I think I want to go ahead and Heliod's Pilgrim here instead of the Irregulars. And I'm going to get our Bonds to try to keep him from flipping his Jace. And since we're on the path of aggression at the moment, I'm going to go ahead and Nimbus Wings on our Pilgrim as well. Do you have removal? Disperse. removal of a kind. It's not a 2-for-1, though that will allow us to search with our Pilgrim again, which is okay. And it looks like he's going to get to flip his Jace anyway with the casting of that dispersal. This loot will put 4 in his graveyard, then when he untaps, he can loot with Jace again, and the card he discards at that point will be 5 and will flip Jace to his Planeswalker form. Which is pretty good. Great at controlling the board or flashing back other things. So I don't think we're playing against Thopters now. Maybe some sort of is it control-ish build or tempo of some sort? The Titan Strength leads me to almost think it is a prowess type of deck. Which may be the case. And I guess it is. There's Majoring Bully, which is definitely a prowess card. So now I don't think I want to try to Suppression Bonds the creature. I can always Suppression Bonds the Planeswalker after it's flipped. I do want to Heliod's Pilgrim pre-combat now, though. No, I don't want to tap both of my white sources, please. What I want to do is get another Nimbus Wings. And see if we can't get our Elite Vanguard in there, barring a Fiery Impulse from our opponent. And we can, it appears. So let's put our opponent to 3. Which, in all honesty, is a pretty good position for us to be in. Now, let's flip Jace. He probably should have flipped Jace on his turn and used its +1 ability to give one of our creatures -2, -0 until the end until his next turn. I think that probably would have been a better play. Unless I guess he was planning to try to block and then flip with the free block there so that Jace wouldn't die. I still don't know that that was the right call. Especially since he knows that we had this Pilgrim in hand and we've already shown that we're playing Nimbus Wings. Okay, I guess you're firecrafting this. Okay, that's fine. You're still not in great shape. You have to attack with that. I'm not blocking. Majoring Bully has to attack each turn if able. I'm going to shrink our Vanguard or flash something back. Because if you shrink it, then unless I draw something else, well, I guess you're not going to. What'd you give flashback? Disperse? Okay. Probably should have done that pre-combat. Because I'm definitely not going to block that thing and you would have got an extra point of damage in. Alright, now I can cast Elf here and pump for 1 more damage. What I think I'm going to do though is Suppression Bonds Jace, drop Elite Vanguard and Elf, and swing for 1. Went ahead and played those pre-combat just to kind of help out. I don't want to attack Jace. I've taken care of that, barring another Disperse to get it active again. Yeah. And I mean, I guess our opponent could have a Chandra's Ignition to keep him in the game, but barring that, we should be winning this turn. They could maybe have a dispersal wave or dispersion wave. Alright, let's try to finish this out. Alright, that's it. See you in the next game. I think I'm going to keep this. I have a turn 2 Consul's Lieutenant, and then if I draw another land, the rest of my hand comes online. If we don't draw a third land, we're going to lose, but can't live in fear, I suppose. Okay, so we know our opponent has green cards. Alright, there's a land. I'm still going to... do I want to Evolving Wilds? May just want a Guildgate. I would like to draw some more land, so let's not thin our deck at the moment. Let's go ahead and Guildgate instead of searching. The impact of getting another land out isn't huge, but it is a thing, so... It looks like Golgari again. Hopefully we'll have a better time of it than in the first match. Alright, let's go ahead and play our Lieutenant. And maybe we'll get lucky enough to draw an untapped land where we don't have to Evolving Wilds next turn and can do one of our 3-drops. If not, we can Sunblade Elf. Okay, that's a good blocker. If we get a Nimbus Wings, we can get our Consul's Lieutenant renowned. So there's that also. And it looks like our opponent is straight Golgari. They didn't search for a third color off the Guildgate there. Ooh, Kytheon. Well, that's good. So we can drop Sunblade Elf and Kytheon. Yeah, let's attack. See if our opponent double blocks. Try to trick us into killing the Gatecreeper Vine. In which case, the elf would kill our Consul's Lieutenant, but that's not what happened there. We'll Evolving Wilds. I'm going to go ahead and search for a Plains, just in case we don't get any more white and we draw our Archangel of Tithes, which takes 3 white to cast. We'll drop our Sunblade Elf, which is a 2/2 because we have Plains in play, and Kytheon. And if we get super lucky, we can flip Kytheon next turn. I do expect something to be dying, though, seeing as our opponent looks like he's Golgari. Don't generally see elves playing Guildgate, or Gatecreeper Vine, rather. So our opponent's tapping out for Bitter Revelations. So that's good for us as far as flipping Kytheon goes. We should definitely accomplish that. Okay. Go ahead and attack with all then. See if he's going to force us to make our Kytheon indestructible. Or try to prevent... No, he's just going to try to prevent the Consul's Lieutenant from getting renowned, which is fine with me. Lets me play other things. Okay, we will go ahead and make our Lieutenant indestructible and untap it. And we're going to drop the Castellan, which could be playing into a Languish, honestly, which makes me kind of want to just drop Heliod's Pilgrim. I think that's what I'm going to do. Because Languish will still kill the Lieutenant because of the negatives. Yes. I just want Nimbus Wings. Kind of what I mostly want in this deck is just Nimbus Wings. All the Nimbus Wings. Give them to me now. So do we get Languished? Ooh, Priest of Bloodrite. Okay. Well, Nimbus Wings isn't super good versus that. I suppose we should probably Heliod's Pilgrim. Yep. Get our Suppression Bonds now. Yes. Then I'm going to Nimbus Wings on my Consul's Lieutenant. And give it indestructible with Gideon so I can block this thing. Alright, skip attack. The priest is doing 2 damage to our opponent during their upkeep every turn. Foundry, okay. So that's going to allow them to make 2 Thopters there if they want to. The question is what they have to deal with our board. With the Suppression Bonds, we're in decent shape here. Rock Maulers, okay. So this is a different sort of build than I've seen. Rock Maulers is a trample and renown creature. Definitely want to Suppression Bonds the 5/5. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Play our land. And we'll get our Lieutenant in there and get it renowned. Okay. And then we'll untap it and make it indestructible again. Seems like a good plan to me. Stops the Rock Maulers from getting in and becoming exalted. Could have a pump spell for it to let it trample over. Okay, so Languish. I'm actually okay with that. Though our opponent does have more cards in hand than us. We still have Gideon to beat down with, and these in hand. Okay, there's Nissa, so that's not a great thing for us. If he's silly and +1s her instead of making an elemental, we'll just kill her Planeswalker with Gideon. So, I think I want to cast Castellan. Then I'm going to go ahead and attack with Gideon. And he's almost obligated to block Gideon at the moment. That will put our opponent to 3. We'll see though. And I'm going to drop the Freeblade. Now I can drop Valeron Wardens next turn. Does our opponent have another Languish? Well, they're going to flip Nissa. Actually thought they might flip it last turn. That wasn't the case though. Now, do you make a 4/4 legendary? Yes, you do. Okay, that's probably the best call if you don't have anything else in your hand to play. Though you can make Thopters to block with. And that's what's going to happen. Guess our opponent doesn't want to take the chance that we have some kind of instant speed interaction that can deal with that. Though I don't think there is actually anything in this iteration that could. Okay, so Grasp of the Hieromancer is pretty good. I'm gonna put that on our Castellan. I'm gonna cast Valeron Wardens. We're going to make Gideon a creature. Oh wait, no. Cancel. Make him a creature. Must have misclicked there. And attack with all. No. Yeah. Attack with all at our opponent. Confirm. Tap down the elemental with our grasp. Yep. Gotta block one more. Okay. Alright, they get 2 scries off of Shadows of the Past. Our Freeblade will become renowned. We'll draw a card for that from our Valeron Wardens. That's good. I'm not going to drop that. No need to super extend myself. Alright, so they get a land there. What do you have to deal with what I've got in play? Need to either wipe the board or play a ton of creatures right here. Or gain a lot of life. Got to mitigate damage in some way, or this has overcome my attack phase. Our opponent could be running Fog, maybe? I don't really know. Necromantic Summons, okay. What is your target? You going to bring back your Priest of the Bloodrite? Nope. Visionary, draw a card. Still need more. And still need more besides that, because I got 4 creatures coming. And I'm going to tap one of yours down when I do. Can even play Sunblade Elf and then pump all my stuff +1/+1 with it. And our opponent sees the writing on the wall, drops out of the game. I will make Gideon a soldier. And attack for the win. Probably. Confirm, tap this down. Something should get through and kill our opponent. He's only got 2 blockers. I don't really think they're running Fog. Alright. Well, that's it for this episode of Friday Night Magic. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like below. It really does help. And until next time, be excellent to each other.